This kitchen floor has had it. It's got to go. As a matter of fact, this whole kitchen needs to be redone from the ground up. So this is where we're going to start today. We're going to be installing a new kitchen floor, and it's a simple do-it-yourself project. And what's great about it, we're going to be able to install the new one right over the top of this old one. So that's really going to save us a lot of time. You'll need to move your appliances out of the kitchen before you can lay down your floor. So unplug them first, and remember, if you have an automatic ice maker, you'll need to turn the water off. You'll need to use a wrench to disconnect your water lines. And in this case, I'm using a crescent wrench and an open end. So probably just a few turns ought to get it. And then you can loosen the rest with your fingers. You'll also need to remove your stove. And in this case, we have a gas stove. So the first thing that you want to do is turn the gas off. Most valves are a 90-degree turn to shut them off. Then you need to use a pair of channel locks to loosen this so you can disconnect the line. And just keep turning it until you can get it really loose to pull this off. Just like that. If you're putting down a new flooring on top of the old, you'll need to clean your floor first. And I just used a really good detergent and some water to clean up this floor. And then if you have any loose tiles that are sticking up like this one, you'll need to glue these back down. So I'm using a trowel to put on this vinyl flooring adhesive. Just put a little bit on the back of this, and then you can use your fingers just to tamp this down. The last thing that we need to do before we can put down our flooring is take up this cord around. I'm using a pry bar and a hammer, so if you'll just put your pry bar right in between the baseboard and the cord around close to the nail and lightly tap it with your hammer to loosen this, then you can get it off. Just carefully work your pry bar to loosen this cord around so you don't break it. And we can just do this all the way down. To make our job really easy, we're using a flooring installation kit. And this is a real inexpensive kit that comes with several large pieces of paper and all the tools that you need to make a template of your floor. So you'll want to start with your first piece in the corner and push it right up against your baseboards. And then go ahead and roll it out. You'll need to tack this piece of paper with a piece of tape to the baseboard to keep it in place, so you can lay all your other pieces out as well. And what's really nice about using the paper is it's going to give you a perfect template of your floor. And that way you're not taking a chance of mismeasuring and cutting your floor out possibly too short. So you'll overlap your pieces of paper just a little bit and then tape them together as you go. And to keep your ends from rolling up on you, go ahead and tape these together too. All right. Every kitchen's going to have corners and angles that you need to cut around, like this one. So all you need to do is just lay your paper right up against it. And I'm going to use a putty knife and a utility knife to trim this off. The reason for the putty knife, it's given me a straight edge so that my utility knife doesn't slip back onto the paper and mess this cut up. Okay. After I trimmed all the excess paper off, I went ahead and reinforced my tape with longer pieces to ensure that my papers will stay together. And now all I need to do is just take off these 2 pieces of tape on this baseboard, and I can start rolling this up. And you just want to be real careful so that your papers don't separate when you're rolling this up. This is our vinyl flooring. And it comes in standard 12-foot widths, but you can get it cut to different lengths. We went ahead and rolled this out 24 hours ago. That gives it plenty of time to flatten out, and it gets rid of any kinks so that when we cut it, we have a good, accurate cut. You'll want to start by putting your template down in a corner, line that up, and then go ahead and roll it on out. Now, once we get this lined up really even on both of these corners, I'm going to use some sturdy duct tape to tape this down. So just put your tape on the paper and then tuck it under on the floor like that. And we're going to do this all the way around. If you'll use a thin piece of wood underneath your vinyl, that'll make your cutting a lot easier. Plus, it protects whatever surface your flooring is laying on. And again, I'm just using the same utility knife, and just go slow so that you can get a good, straight, accurate cut. As you're cutting, be sure that you keep your body off of your template and stay on the vinyl. That way you're not messing up your template and you're giving yourself a good even cut. Now that our floor is cut, all we have to do now is just cut the rest of the pieces of tape and we're finished. Now all I got to do is just take this template off. Now let's lay this floor out and see how it fits. Let me just push it up underneath the counter. You know, because of that template, this is a perfect fit, even in the corners. Since we know this floor fits, we can go ahead and start putting down the glue. And what you want to do is you want to fold this back about halfway, and be sure not to step on this because you don't want to put a crease in it. And then we're applying this adhesive directly to the floor. And I'm using this notched trowel. So this is going to spread the glue on evenly for me. So let me just get me some. And you want to keep the trowel up on its edge like this to spread the glue around. Make sure that you get right up against your baseboards so that your flooring adheres to that. And then just do even strokes so that you get a good even coating of adhesive. I've just about got this half of the floor finished. There, that ought to do it. Okay, now we can lay this down. Once you get your flooring down, that's pretty much it. You shouldn't need to raise it up for any reason, but really you can anyway, because if you do, it will mess your flooring up. So just try to lay it down as smooth as you can. And then you can smooth it like this all the way up to the edges. Before we glue this side of the floor, I'm just going to lightly loosen with my hammer this carpet trim. And I'm not trying to take it all the way up. I'm just raising it enough so that once I get this glued, I can put the vinyl flooring right up underneath here to tuck it in, and then I'll push this carpet trim back down. All right, I've almost finished gluing, and this wasn't too bad. Now I can lay the rest of this floor down. So carefully push this as I go, smoothing it down. To put the flooring under the carpet trim that I was telling you about, you'll want to carefully roll this flooring forward a little bit so that you can slide it up underneath the trim, just like that, and then you can let the weight of the floor push itself on up underneath that trim. You'll want to lightly tap your carpet trim back down. Now, we need to let the floor set up for at least 24 hours before we can put our appliances back in. And the last part of our project is just putting back down the quarter round. You know, this really was a simple do-it-yourself project, and it wasn't very expensive. You could spend anywhere from $2 a square foot on up, depending on the look you want. And a project like this can really brighten up your kitchen.